Bliss has no sense of time or space. When we release the boundaries, we have the opportunity to experience it exponentially with those around us. I watch Emma as she dances in our living room to the High School Musical soundtrack. She was so mature and really performing. The music was really in her. I let myself go to fully experience and feel her movement. I enjoyed every volt of energy running through her little body. I felt honored that I was part of making her. The more she danced, the deeper and further I would look in. I saw the pure, untapped strength, wisdom, and love that were waiting for the right circumstances to be released. As she continued to dance, I pictured her as a young woman. I was so proud and excited to meet this amazing person I knew she would become. This was one of those moments where I was mastering being mindful. I was fully present, filled with joy and nothing else. It was beautiful. It was intoxicating to be so fully aware of so many sensations. And then it happened. As I pictured her as a young woman, I imagined her without me. I was only a memory. I had become pictures and stories. At that moment, I cursed my brain and said, no, 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 no. I wasn't going to spoil this moment. I used every distraction to fight the tears. I was sick of the possibility of my death interrupting and tainting my purest of moments. The future cannot change this moment. The only thing that has impact here and now is the course of my thoughts. Like everyone else, that is all I have. This moment in time is the only absolute. So I made a promise to myself there that I would continually try to keep all moments pure and in the present. It was very liberating. I changed the perception of my visual of the future Emma. I viewed it as the opportunity to see the future. The message was to see what I had to live for and know it was me who was going to unlock Emma's potential. The only way I was going to do that was to believe in my own future. I had moved into a realm of opportunity that I never thought possible. I never thought I could ever experience such bliss in the midst of such challenge. I felt like this was another bridge I had crossed on my own path. I have gone beyond the boundaries that hindered me from experiencing and savoring the fullness of life. You know, when we talk about this whole notion of mind, body, and spirit, this picture of this church I took when we went on a huge family visit. I'm originally from Croatia. My parents are Croatian. And my parents have been wanting us to go with the kids and, you know, my grandparents, that whole thing. And I always said, like, I go on vacation to get away from all of you. I don't want to travel that far with all of you. Are you crazy? But in the end, you know, I had cancer, and I was like, okay. I knew how important it was to my mom and dad, so we all went. And it ended up being a fabulous vacation. Wonderful, really wonderful vacation. And this picture was taken along the Adriatic coast, which in Croatia is quite fabulous. And this church is ancient, like it's all stone inside. And it was one of the strangest things that I had experienced, because when I was standing in there, I remember the kids were kind of running around, and there's no one else in there except us. It was very small, hundreds and hundreds of years old. And as I was standing there, I just had this overwhelming sensation, and my heart was so full, and I felt this need to just burst out into tears, but not sad tears. It was just a fullness in my heart that's the only way I can explain it. What was it? I don't know. Was it divinity? I don't know. But it was something that gave me that same feeling I had when I looked up into the sky. And I think when we quiet ourselves down and put ourselves into a place where we're really observant, fully present, we're able to take that in. Similar to what we're feeling this weekend. I don't have to speak. I don't have to talk. We feel it. It's there. So that was a very important time for me, because I think when we get those moments are sent to us for a reason. They're sent to us to reinforce that, yes, you can trust the choices you've made. Yes, you can trust that you deserve to be here, regardless of your diagnosis, regardless of what stage you're at. The only absolute is this moment. And this urgency, this notion of past and present, rehashing things, planning, is very much a Western-minded kind of thing. And the more we can sort of take our attention from that and bring it to here, I believe is what not only allows us to fully enjoy our lives, but I truly believe it impacts our health. Mortality is a part of it, right? You know, we're faced with our mortality, but, you know, I believe when your worst nightmare comes true, what else is there to be afraid of, right? Sort of like, yeah, okay, here it happened. And I'm still here. We are still here. So instead of moving forward with that fear, let's move forward with joy and this passion for life. And so, it's 2 years past this story, and this year, I believe, ironically, that I'm here with you this year. This year was very important for me. I turned 40 during treatment. I think that month, we actually have pictures of me. I had chemo on my birthday, that was one, and then that month of my 40th birthday was my last Herceptin. You know, we went to Vegas, partied hard for my husband's, and of course, oh, look at me. But anyway, I digress. So this year, it's like, okay, I'm going to turn 43, and I've been struggling with a few things. You know, everything's going well and everything, but I found there's a part of me that was still struggling. Because one of the things in my treatment, and Biff spoke about the Zoladex and all that thing, I did that for a year, and in the end, I ended up having to have a hysterectomy. And that happened, I think, the following year of, I don't even know, I don't even care. And then earlier this year, ironically, I severely broke my ankle. Had nothing to do with cancer. I just really broke my ankle, where I've got, hence the low heels all weekend. I just started riding a bike a few months ago. And, but I was back on the couch, people taking care of me again. It was my right foot could not drive. 3 months, immobile. That's a long time to sit with yourself. I drove to treatment, I cooked, I did things. I have never been that incapacitated in my entire life. And that was the catalyst to say, okay, what's going on? Why am I here again? What is this thing that's happening here? Totally happy that it had nothing to do with cancer, of course. But still, I sort of got to that point where it was like, every time I came up for air, something pushed me back down. And I was mad. I wanted that, okay, where does my comeback story start, right? And so, as I sat there for months contemplating this, and how do I be me after cancer? How do I find that? What am I missing? What am I searching for right now? And I ended up going on a 10-day meditation retreat last month, silent. It's pretty intense. It's pretty intense when you're in that situation alone with your stuff, when you unlock the vault. And it was very powerful for me. It was a lot of purging, a lot of grieving of pain, emotion, struggle, all that kind of stuff that we press down. And what I realized was, and you may also feel this, is I was in a self-induced coma. When you're diagnosed with cancer, everything revs up. It's about survival, staying alive. That's your first priority. That's what everyone's telling you, right? We just got to keep you alive. We're going to pump you full of crap just to keep you here, keep you alive enough to get rid of this. And then we rebuild. So the emotions, the sensations, the ability to feel, I realized were a bit dull. Because how can you cope with all this crazy stuff going around you? Something's got to give, right? So we close down enough to do what we need to do. Focus on the treatment, focus on what we need to get done. And then what happens? Then we're sort of left, right? Everyone's looking, hair's back. I looked at my hair and was like, holy crap, look how long this is right now. And when I was sitting there with that broken ankle, I thought, the only person who really thinks I'm a cancer patient right now is me. Everyone else just sees me as Jackie. But the problem was I didn't know who that was. That whole identity that I had prior to that diagnosis, I hadn't figured out how to be that person. And not necessarily be the old me, because our new normal changes anyway. Whether you have cancer or not, you get a new normal every time you wake up. And that's the reality of it. And I got that. Intellectually, I understood that. I was totally okay with that. But spiritually, the inside, Didn't know how was I going to be, where's that fierceness, that vibrance that we have as women? I'd lost that, and I was struggling to find that again. And so for those of you who are perhaps newly diagnosed in your treatment, this is my piece that I can pass on to you. This may come for you. For those of you who are further along than me, may have already experienced this, going, yeah, I totally know what you're talking about. And so while I was away, I contemplated a lot of stuff. My relationship with my mother, me as a woman, how am I going to raise my daughter? This thing with cancer, it just sort of reminded me of how important our preservation of our female energy is. In our case, cancer impacted that, but I think women in general struggle with this. And when I realized that, I started looking for solutions. I started thinking, okay, what do I need to do to get that groove, get my mojo back, hey? And so one of the things was I started belly dancing. And I've taught everything under the sun, like I said. I mean, you can't picture it now, but hip-hop, aquafit, like whatever. You get me music and I can do something. So it was sort of like, I need something different. And even when I was still owned in my business, we had belly dance courses all the time. Women would flock to it. I was like, yeah, okay, yeah, whatever. And when I tried it, then it was like, I get it. And the reason why I got it was when you move like that, it stirs that mojo, that vibrance. And interestingly enough, my husband had brought home some pictures. I was sort of sharing this story earlier this morning. He had brought these pictures home from work that he had of our family and whatnot. And he had this picture of me, and I remember exactly where that picture had been taken. It was at a conference we had attended, and I was kind of dressed up funky, and I had my long hair and everything else. But it was such a candid shot. It was like an odd shot to really want to put up. So I'm thinking, why does he like this so much, right? Because I'm searching. And I'm looking at it, and I realized it's not the look, it's this look. It's that vibrance in my face, in my smile, in my eyes that was missing. And that has nothing to do with our physical appearance. That's all in here and in here. And unfortunately, how many of us have spoken about the loss of hair, how we are so preoccupied with that, right? We're so preoccupied with our physical body. And that's very much ego-driven. And if anything, cancer has really helped me check my ego and really investigate, where am I coming from? With every word that comes out of my mouth, every action that I do, where is it coming from? Because it has to come from an authentic place. And so this year for me was a discovery of that vibrance. Because regardless of my surgeries and things like that and the ankle thing, it was like I still didn't feel that connection to myself, that love for myself, that belief in myself. I could do a lot of lip service. I could get on a stage and go, yes, you got to do this. Yes, you're all so beautiful. Love yourselves. And then I'd go home and be eating out of the peanut butter jar at 2 o'clock in the morning. Why am I doing that? I'm very knowledgeable in that area. Why would I do that? There's something hurt still. There's something still healing on the inside. And so my wish for you, as you leave this conference, is to embrace your own story. It's your own story. It's truly an individual story that you should celebrate. Don't compare it to other people's stories. It doesn't matter. Everyone's story is the same. So make yours just as important as everyone else's.